Welcome back to the channel. Today we're installing a receiver hitch on our 2018 Jeep. This is good for 18 and above, and I'll show you how to do a clean install on the wiring for the brake lights. This is Jeepingmo. Receiver hitch for our 2018 JL. This should be a wiring kit. Yep. Wiring to go up to the battery, wired along the frame. Should be a plug and play kit. It should just plug right into our back lights. Okay, so we have a custom bumper on it. So a lot of the bracketry that would normally ride here on this back bar isn't there. So we'll build a bolt right through the frame. So let's see how it fits. Alright, the kit comes with everything you need in it. It's like everything's black oxide coated, washers, lock nuts. The front has welded nuts on it, so you can just bolt through. We'll get those on, and we'll put the other bolts on. Everything's a 12 millimeter. So you'll need a 19 millimeter socket. All the bolts are the same length, which is nice. That way you don't got to figure out which one is which. Two that have the welded on nuts, those two will get the lock washers. So you'll get a lock washer, a regular washer, and those will come through. The other two don't need lock washers because they have lock nuts. So before you put your hitch up there, put your lock washer and your regular washer on two screws. The lock washer goes first, then your regular washer. You'll put a washer on the bolt side and a washer on the nut side. Okay, so take your 19 millimeter socket and ratchet, and you'll snug all these up. We got to take out the taillights. I love these trim tool tools. Say that fast, right? They're cheapy at Harbor Freight, like 10-15 bucks. You'll break them every now and then, but I wouldn't be prying around in here with a screwdriver. Right, so just pop them both off. Okay. It's just that easy. And then there's a plastic screw in there that leads down to your taillight. All right, so you'll need that Torx bit that's in your kit to take your taillight out. So just grab your ratchet, and that's what you take your taillights out with. Use that tool, back out that plastic screw, back that out. There's a screw so you don't over tighten it. Alright, so once you got this out, just you can use your finger, a little screwdriver, or whatever, and you can push down on this lock and unplug it. Alright, so I've kind of laid out the wiring harness. We got to feed the wiring harness up to each light. There's a control box that's got to get mounted, and this goes up for your plug. This we run up to the battery. Alright, so we fished everything down through the taillight assembly. The box, we're going to mount the box. I used an existing hole inside of the area there. So I just put that's a 1/4-20. I would probably go with like a 1032 or a 24 if you have it. Put a big fender washer on the other side it can screw against. So we're going to mount the power line and run the power line up to battery. I like to use shrink wrap whenever possible. This corrosion is the worst thing that can happen to a electrical connection. Alright, I get these sections of shrink wrap. You get them in a couple different sizes. These are 3/8. And it's a shrink wrap fitting as well, so we'll shrink wrap that. Then we'll shrink wrap the whole thing together. Alright, so there's that end. And then the bundle of wire that they give you, we'll just strip off the end. I'll put a piece of shrink wrap on this end. Now if you have a heat gun, that works good to shrink wrap. You can't hold a constant flame on these shrink wrap fittings because they'll light up on you. I'll do one little bit, then I'll let it cool down. The heat gun works really good if you have one. A little bit extra shrink wrap. This will shrink up the rest of the way for us. On this side, we'll do the same thing. We'll overlap it. Okay, now that that's connected, we can pass this bundle of wire through the opening. And we can route it from the underside. And we'll end up running it through the frame to the front where the battery's at. So there's a self-drilling and tapping screw that comes with your kit. Just attach that to this beam. If you want to stick the box to the floor inside, you can. I personally don't think it'll stay there very long. I attach it. There's a hole in the body as you open up. I use a quarter 20 screw. I would suggest like a number 10. It would be much easier. Then we have to run the passenger side connector over. Alright, with all the wires ran, we just come in here and connect all the connectors. Make sure you flip up the little red tabs. And the taillight goes back in. And then take your screw, you get it started by hand, and you can drive it a little bit with it. So this is the T40 tool that actually comes with the kit in your glove box. And you want to over tighten it. That's a little better. Take your cover. Snap it back in. Let's do the other side. We've got these two bolts for the heat shield. I'm going to drop those. I'm going to run this wire up under those. That way I can minimize the amount of zip ties I use. Okay, it's hard to see, but I've got those wires up underneath this shield. Right? You just got to make sure you're off of the muffler. They're up behind the shield. We'll put the screws back in and plug in the light and route the wire. Okay, so the wires will route through the frame and up into this hole, and that's where they'll pull through for your taillights. Alright, I'm just going to tie up this extra wire so it isn't just all loose. And then plug the lights back in. Push the little red tabs up. So try to run all your wiring through the frame if all possible. That way it's not exposed to being hit or drug. We know how we treat our Jeeps. Alright, now let's run it up through the frame, up to the front. And I was trying to find a spot on the inside to run, but on the other side of that's your downpipe, and that'll be on the exhaust. So we're going to route it through here, make sure we're well away from the exhaust, and pull it up from the top and connect it. All right, so we're going to work this wire up through here. Alright, so in order to use this fuse connector, just cut it halfway through. These electrical fishes are a good thing to have around. Alright, so we'll strip the ends of this off. Now it came with two butt connectors. Lost one. It comes with the ring terminal. Right, your fuse will go in here. Put your piece of shrink wrap on. Make sure you're all the way through. Then go crip it. Don't go crazy with it. Torch will work. Just slowly heat it up. Keep moving so you don't burn it. And it'll just shrink wrap around the fitting. Alright, so we're going to have to connect this to one of these battery terminals here. So just to kind of eyeball the length. So it doesn't have to be much, doesn't have to come out too far, because this will go down inside of there just a little bit. Crimp it. So with the flame turned down on low, take off the terminal here. Alright, so we're going to put the fuse underneath the small one on the other side. That's where I have my steps connected. Put our 15 amp fuse in. Weather cap on. And just tuck everything away. Just got the fuse on the one line. I always try to shrink wrap everything. Alright, we bought the kit from Rugged Ridge. It came with this bracket. I'm not exactly sure what the thought around this is. I guess when you hook the cover for the pins on it, it goes around this edge and holds it. To me, it just seemed like a whole bad setup there. So I ordered this one, slides up in there. The cover still goes around it, but it'll at least hold it. So I'm going to drill and tap this into the bottom of the bumper. Be able to put this in here. Cover on. And that's wrapped. If you like this content, check out some of our other videos that pop up here. We're trying to make the push to get to monetize. So if you would subscribe, we would appreciate it. All the parts and everything will be in the descriptions below. Till the next time, this is Jeepingmo. We'll put all the parts and everything in the descriptions below.